Nazis in Italy? What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review of Westworld Episode 2, Season 3. Guys, I've taken this time in quarantine to catch all the way up to Westworld, and man, it's so worth the watch. Westworld Season 2 was arguably better than the first, and I didn't even actually get too confused. I'm not patting myself on the back, but whatever, I'm going to do it anyway. Talking about TV shows isn't too unfamiliar for real James, so it's really fun to just continue to talk about TV and what I'm watching during this quarantine, because coronavirus is real. Stay safe out there, you guys, and please wash your hands and social distance. Stay away. Don't follow what South Florida is doing. It's not good. But before I hop into my recap and review, if this is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James. Now, if you're wondering who that is, that's me. And I love talking all about movies and TV shows. So each and every day I do my best to bring you guys some new, fresh content so you don't want to miss out. Go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to tap on the notification bell right next to it. Like this video, share it with your friends, and there's a poll right at the top that's going to ask you basically, are you confused with Westworld? Because if you are, let your boy know in the comments below and let's try to break this down together. Alrighty, so enough talking, let's just get right into episode 2, the white line, or the winter line. Oh my gosh, I'm confused at the title of the series, or episode. I'm going nuts, let me get my script. So the winter line is directed by Richard J. Lewis and written by Lisa Joy and Matt Pitts. So this episode was really cool because it was a departure from episode 1, the series, or the season premiere, pardon me. And that starred Dolores and Caleb, of course, played by Evan Rachel Wood and Aaron Paul. So it's cool how we're seeing a similar pattern. In season 2, we had one episode dealing with Maeve and Hector and Lee and everybody, and then in the next episode it was Dolores, Teddy, and Bernard. So it's kind of neat how we're still getting that similar flow and pattern here, because I was really curious about Maeve and what her status was, and not only just Maeve, but I wanted to know, where's Hector? Is Maeve going to try to reunite with her daughter? But we'll get right into that. Let's go from top to bottom in this episode. So it begins with this cool cold open where Hector and Maeve are in Nazi-controlled Italy, and they're going through what I thought was a flashback. And honestly, it was almost too good to be true, but later on, Lee reveals that it is War World. And if you're wondering, how did Lee reveal that? He's kind of alive, but he's not. He makes a reappearance, but it's really just a replica of himself. His control unit's destroyed, and he's basically scripted, so it's not actually him. But Rodrigo Santoro and Thandie Newton's chemistry together is amazing, so it was so cool to see them both on the screen again, even though, of course, Hector is not actually Hector that we saw in season 2. Basically, Maeve is the only real thing about this timeline. Now, we'll break down the 3 timelines later on in this review, but Maeve is the only real control unit, just in a different body each time she gets into this war world setting. It's a tongue twister. Now, I did say we'll go from top to bottom, so the intro plays right for Westworld Season 3, and I have to ask you a question. Guys, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments below or if I'm right on the money here, but that circle, right, it's like a white background, black circle, and it shows like different statistics and everything, and it's like a weird discrepancy thing. Okay, is that Rehoboam? And if I'm mispronouncing that, please let me know, but this is the, problem-solving machine device thingy that makes decisions for itself that was revealed in the season premiere. I'm thinking that's what this is every time it's shown throughout the season so far. But there's a lot of questions that we are not getting answers to yet. Let's move on. Now, like I told you, Lee isn't alive, but I thought he was, so when he reappeared limping, I almost cheered. I literally got up out of my seat and was about to clap my hands. And then, slowly but surely, you start to realize that maybe it's too good to be true. But Lee does reveal something very interesting to Maeve, because Maeve is still on mission to find her daughter. And War World is actually near the Forge, and of course the Forge is what Lee is telling Maeve is the gateway to this encrypted world that every other host went to. Ake and everybody, and Maeve's daughter. And it's very interesting because you kind of think, okay, so if Lee isn't real, and Lee knows this, who, 1, is programming this world, and 2, knows about the Forge? It's very interesting. They haven't revealed that yet clearly, but all we know is that Maeve's world that she's in for most of episode 2 is really fake, and it's not real. And we'll break down when she gets into the real world at the end of the episode shortly. Now, this is just the episode of like revivals because Stubbs comes back. Bernard, as we left him in episode 1, is trying to get to Westworld, and eventually he'll get there, and in this episode we see the remnants of what Westworld once was. Basically, he's trying to find Maeve. There's definitely going to be this war that happens, and there are a few different factions here, but the season is kind of propping up 3 different groups that'll probably come together to try to defeat Dolores, and I don't know if that'll happen, but it's going to be really interesting to see why Bernard wants Maeve so badly, and it's probably because he believes she's the only one that can defeat Dolores. But then Stubbs comes alive, and it's neat because now he's going to be tag teaming with Bernard throughout the rest of this journey. Now, there was a moment where Bernard and Stubbs are going to try to find this tablet to where Bernard can see if there's any corruption files that Dolores left in his system. So while Stubbs is, walking through the hallways and everything, they're looking at what I guess was a medieval world. I really wish I would have seen this because there's legit a dragon. Just a dragon chilling in one room. But eventually Maeve outsmarts the system, and she finds her control unit. She reprograms her robot remotely and gets her control unit out of the container, but unfortunately the robot doesn't make it too far, and Maeve is woken up in the real world, speaking to a guy named Sirach, played by Vincent Castle, that's my boy. Vincent Castle has this amazing sinister look to him. I liked him in Black Swan quite a bit. He's just a great actor, and it's cool to see him now play in this world created by Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy. Man, it's going to be so interesting because what Sirach is alluding to is that he created Rehoboam and lets Maeve know, hey, I want you to go and kill Dolores. But Maeve doesn't want that. Maeve is like, I don't care about your war. I'm trying to find my daughter. And then Sirach has this thing, I guess it's like a kill switch, where it freezes Maeve and resets her. And basically they have this conversation, it seems over and over again, until Maeve is convinced that she needs to go and fight for the humans to defeat Dolores, who wants to kill the humans. We're going all around in circles here, but it's gonna make sense. Okay, so now that we've kind of recapped episode 2, I really actually enjoyed this episode. I think it is less impactful compared to the first episode because I do enjoy that cyberpunk feel of the real world that's now overrun by technology and a lot of AI, and I really wanted to see more of Aaron Paul, to be honest with you. But it was really refreshing to see Hector, Maeve, Lee, Stubbs, and even Bernard get a little bit more shine in this episode. I mean, Jeffrey Wright puts on, again, another great performance. Him and Evan Rachel Wood are turning in some of the best performances I've ever seen on TV, but it's nice that now they have people like Aaron Paul, Vincent Castle just coming in and adding more star power. So this is propping up this season to be really action-packed. I think it's going to be more action-packed than confusing. We have yet to see a lot of Ed Harris's character, and if you don't know who that is, it's the Man in Black, it's William. We haven't seen much of him, and I'm guessing it's only because there's more that needs to be dissected there, and they'll probably dedicate an entire episode to the Man in Black. Now, like I said, there are a few different timelines here, or settings. They're really just 2 timelines, I think. So let's break down the 3 different scenarios and the 3 different, I guess, stories that this season's following so far. So you have Maeve and Lee, especially in this episode. You notice that Maeve is the only real thing in this world, and Lee is just a scripted AI character until Maeve convinces him that he's not really real, and eventually they help each other out. Maeve finds her control unit, so Maeve is stuck there until she's not, when she's taken out and pulled out by Sirach. Bernard and Stubbs are in present time. They're in Westworld, and they want to leave, of course, to find Maeve and hopefully stop Dolores. And then you have Caleb and Dolores in real time also. So it seems like there are 3, I wouldn't say different timelines, but there are 3 different scenarios that the season is kind of putting us on the journey for or with. It seems almost like everything is in present time. Now, I'm guessing the Man in Black might be stuck in the past until they catch us up, but so far it doesn't seem like any sort of timeline is kind of crisscrossing. Everything seems to be happening now, which is refreshing for this series because, as you know, the previous 2 seasons, timelines were all over the place and you needed a pen and a paper to follow along. So we're slowly but surely learning more about Rehoboam and Sirach and the Insight group, I believe it's called Insight, that was working alongside Delos. And it doesn't seem like Westworld was endgame for Delos and Insight. I think Rehoboam was, because it's a problem-solving device that Dolores wants to hopefully hack and destroy the human race with. Gets this like very Terminator 2 vibe to it, but I can only imagine that there's going to be this epic showdown between humans and hosts eventually, and I cannot wait for the season to get there. And there are some Easter eggs in this episode that kind of let me know that everything is happening now. Of course, Caleb and Dolores are most likely stateside, right? They're in the United States, but Sirach and Maeve are in present time because, of course, Sirach is talking about Dolores, and it seems like they're either in South America or they're in Spain, because if you heard Containment Breach being spoken when Maeve hacks that robot and gets her control unit, it's repeated again in Spanish. So I turned subtitles on, and it said speaking Spanish at the bottom, so it sounds like it's off-site. It's not domestically, which actually is a leg up for Sirach because he doesn't have to deal with Dolores face-to-face just yet. But there you have it, guys. That's my recap and review of Episode 2, Season 3 of Westworld, The Winter Line. If you guys liked everything you just heard, and I'm looking forward to actually bringing you a recap and review every single week for Westworld now that I'm all the way caught up, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. And also, give me some of your theories and predictions. What do you think happens next in Westworld? Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and tap on the notification bell so you don't miss videos that drop just like this one. Go ahead and like this video, share it, and I love you guys so much. Thanks for interacting with me on social media as well, and you can go ahead and find Real James on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This week I'm looking forward to dropping a couple of videos where I rank the 5 best and worst movies of 2020, and we're going to talk a little bit about the future of Marvel Studios this year. Are they done? Are they pushing everything back? Or do you think we'll still get 2 MCU films in 2020? Alrighty, you guys, so that's all I got for today. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening.